Liz, I'll get you to join in a sec. I'm just going to introduce the live once a few people join. Okay, Liz. Okay, we'll get started anyway, because otherwise it's just going to be me sitting here on the laptop. So just wanted to say good evening, and welcome back again to Talk with Peer to Peer. Today we're going to be discussing body image. We're going to have a lovely guest on today who's a very, very close family friend. She's like our additional sister, and she's going to come on and just basically speak to us about any kind of issues she's had around her personal body image. As we always do, this is a platform for people to be completely honest and just feel comfortable and safe to be able to give their opinions and to speak about how they feel. For anyone who has joined our lives before, you've seen how myself, my older sister, who's the CEO of the company, we've all told our stories and been completely honest and open about them. So we want to continue that on and just make this a really safe and comfortable place for people to be able to be completely honest. And I will be too. I will be today as well, because I think deep down a lot of us have got insecurities. We've got things that we're not happy about, whether it's our body, whether it's the way that we look, the way we act, whatever it is. We all have things about ourselves that we dislike, and it's not a situation of us sitting here and saying, oh, like you're I don't know, bulimic or anorexic because you think you're overweight when you're not. It's our own personal perception of ourselves. And I'll get our guest on, who's the amazing Lissy. I'll get her to come on, and then we'll just have a chat about body image and how important it is, especially for young people as well at the moment, for them to stop kind of being so hard on themselves for not having these perfect bodies or these Instagram worthy bodies and stuff like that. So I don't know if Liz, are you still here or have you left? Let me, bear with me, guys. Okay, we'll just wait for Liz to join. Oh, hello, sister.
Hello there.
Darling.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you feeling?
I feel all right, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
You want to let
I
everyone know?
yeah. For those who don't know, I got the Rona, which was not great.
No.
Um, but I do feel a lot better now, and I just, do you know, for me, it was just the mental side of it towards the end. I was like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And it got to a day, and I was like, I'm not okay.
No.
So I had to just get out and just go for a walk. I tested negative before I went for a walk. But yeah, I just needed to get out. Yeah, just needed to put my disclaimer in there. But yeah, so I just needed to get out. And I think that was the bigger thing, was I think the psychology behind like everything that's been drummed into our heads about COVID, about isolating, not seeing anyone, what you can spread, whether you have symptoms, if yours are as bad as the next person's. It was just a lot.
Yeah. And do you know what?
So
Also the fear of like of just not knowing how you're going to react to it. I think that's the scariest part, because there's so many people that kind of put it into our brains, haven't they, that anyone can get severely ill and be hospitalized and all of this kind of stuff over it. So I can understand why you were kind of panicking a little bit. I think I probably would too.
Yeah, but you got off lightly, so yeah, let's not.
Oh,
Do you want to move on?
just to let everyone know that I was the only one out of everyone who went out. We all went out for my sister's birthday, and I was the only one who didn't get COVID. I've still been tested, so I don't understand what kind of protective.
She's got it. She's just fine. She's one of those asymptomatic people that they're talking about that you've got to avoid in the park. Yeah, that's you.
No. Because as I said, no, I've tested anyway. Right, let's move on. So today's topic is body image. So we're just going to kind of try and have a positive chat, and also I want to highlight the different elements of your body image or body image, because what people fail to realize is that there's so many contributing factors. It's not just body image as a whole. There's actually so many components that each person could have a negative look on each of those components. So it may not necessarily all of them, but it could be that someone has two. I'm going to go through them anyway, because there's quite a few of them. There's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different components in body.
Thanks.
It's important for us telling people about the different components. So what I'll do, let's go through these quickly first. I'll kind of try and put it all into something a little bit more compressed, but okay. So the first one is body dissatisfaction, like general your body or your body parts, over evaluation of weight, or over valuation, of weight or the shape of your body. So it's basically based you as the person as a whole entirely on what you look like. So it's all on your nothing to do with your personality or anything like that. It's literally thinking, if I don't look this way, I'm not that person, if that makes sense. Yeah. And the next one is body preoccupation. This is obsessively thinking about what your body weighs or what it looks like. So that's body checking. So that's repeatedly checking your weight and shape. That's like weighing yourself, mirror, comparing yourselves to others, or pinching your body parts to assess your fat or muscle. Body image avoidance, so avoiding situations that can elicit concerns about your body, like refusal to be weighed, wearing baggy clothes, or covering up in front of mirrors, or like not wearing a swimming costume, things like that.
Wearing a bikini stuff, yeah.
Feeling fat, so that's a somatic sensation that you are carrying more fat than what you actually reality, irrespective of actual body mass. Then you've got fear of weight gain. Now this kind of goes hand in hand with eating disorders as well, but I just want to remind people that just because you're scared of putting on weight, it doesn't mean that you are anorexic or bulimic, or that you have any kind of severe mental health issues. It may just be that you have managed to keep yourself in shape for such a long time that you don't want to have to revert back to putting on loads of weight, lose it all again. So that's also to normalize that a little bit more. So the fear of weight, irrational, illogical, and harmful fears that you're gaining weight. Thin ideal internalization, buying into the belief that being thin will make you happy, popular, or successful, which we'll touch on as well, because I think that goes hand in hand with social media. And then you've got body dysmorphia. So body dysmorphia is a body image disorder characterized by the obsessive idea that some aspect of one's own body part is profoundly flawed, and hence warrants behaviors designed to hide or fix these perceived flaws. So that could be someone who is actually of an average size, is quite slim, but obsessively that they are overweight and that they need to lose weight and that they need to go to the gym and all of that. They need to eat extremely small amounts of food, or they might be that you're constantly drinking those shakes that everyone's drinking. Whatever it is, it's you looking in the mirror and seeing something completely different to what other people are seeing. And then the last one is muscle dysmorphia, sorry, a body image disorder that centrally compromises a core belief and fear around being of insufficient muscularity and a simultaneous drive for muscularity. So that they probably relates to men a bit more when it comes to men who are quite slim and not completely muscular. So I think it's important for us to remember that both men and can struggle with their body image as well. It's not just women, it's both men and women. So do you want
100%. And I don't think that men necessarily talk about that as much. I think it becomes something that's like, I don't know, it's like a point for banter, or it's like, oh, what, bro, you missing leg day, or whatever it might be. But I think that we definitely tend to maybe dismiss, I know we'll go on to it, but we kind of dismiss men's feelings about their physical self. I mean, I think we dismiss some of their emotional stuff as well, but especially in their kind of physical realm, I don't think that we necessarily pay as much attention to how it might affect them versus us women.
100%.
For sure.
Situation of like, we don't necessarily want to be ripped at home. We just want to be that's the bit. We want to have a flat stomach, we want to have a nice peachy bum, we don't want to have bloody fingers or whatever the hell they're called. We don't want any of that, we just want to be slim. But when it comes to men, it's like they've got to go that step further and they want to have these big muscles. That is a complete lifestyle change. It's a complete lifestyle change to be able to achieve those kind of goals and to achieve your body looking that way. It's a complete lifestyle change. But a lot of people do tend to put themselves under pressure to try and get there quicker. And then this is when it comes into all of these people's crazy diets. Like, I don't know. Everyone was laughing at it, but when I was thinking about it, I was like, this is mad. Did you see that video of the guy that all he eats all day is rice and fish cakes?
Yeah, I did.
No, rice cakes and fish, sorry. So he eats just fish. He'll eat a bit of fish and he'll say, right, at 11 o'clock, I have a bit of fish. Then at 12 o'clock, I have 2 rice cakes. Then literally the whole day, all he's eating is fish and rice cakes. And I'm looking at him thinking, first of all, that's obsessive. Second of all, that's actually quite unhealthy because you've got no veg in there. You've got fruit in there. You're not really drinking enough water. All he's thinking about eating is fish and rice cake.
Exactly. And I think the thing with that as well is that, so like you just highlighted, there is a difference. There is a massive difference between that kind of image and then what is actually healthy. It's a slight digression, so I'm not going to go into it completely, but there was a conversation that I was looking at the other day, and it was saying, basically, it was talking about fat shaming, and saying that, like, when people are bigger in size, we are getting to a point where we're willing to accept that, but we absolutely then the person was making a point of saying we then dismiss the kind of health side of things. So obesity is a big problem in the UK. Therefore, if it's costing the NHS a lot of money and a lot of time, where's that balance between saying, okay, you are bigger, but you're like not necessarily healthy? But there were a lot of people who would then join in that conversation and saying, well, equally, you can be really slim, you can be really toned, you can be really built, whatever that looks like for you, and be really unhealthy. And that's the key thing, really, isn't it? Like, underneath it all, I'm not out here preaching, because everyone knows everyone that knows me knows I like to eat, and I'm like, don't chat to me, tell me nothing when I'm eating my it is what it is, isn't it? Like, I have that, and I've got to that place, and that's taken a little while, and we'll talk about that. But it's the health side of things that is massive, because you can look on the outside this perfect way, or slim, whatever the world wants you to look like, but actually inside, your insides are just not doing well. Because what is fish and rice cakes, please? Like, what is that?
And you know what it is I'm a prime example. So for anyone who knew me 6 or 7 years ago, I was a size 6 to 8, sometimes I could even get size 4 on my top half, and I was in the gym. But imagine, I was smoking however many fags a day, I was drinking alcohol, I was eating whatever I wanted, which was not healthy. But my issue at that point, this is like the complete, it's not the complete opposite, because it's still having a kind of negative outlook on your own body. But I hated being that skinny. I hated it. And now I've gone the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and I now hate the weight that I am right now. I hate it.
Yeah.
It's like I did have that kind of in between balance where I was going to the gym, I was eating better, I wasn't too sick, I was really comfortable and confident in myself, and then boom, COVID hit. And lockdown came and licked me and made me put on 2 stone. I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe it. I was watching myself put on 2 stone, and I wasn't even doing nothing about it. I wasn't doing anything about it. Now I'm at this position where, to be completely honest with you, and I think a lot of women can relate to this, I feel very uncomfortable going to the gym. I'll be completely honest. I don't like going to the gym. I don't like being around other people who are confident in the gym. I don't like being around people who are extremely fit, whether that be men or women. I don't appreciate them walking at me when I'm there in my leggings and a crop top, because I don't want to go to the gym in a long-sleeved baggy t-shirt and baggy tracksuit bottoms to avoid men watching. I want to go to the gym in something that I'm comfortable in and that I'm not going to be gawked at. So all of these are contributing factors as to why I'm struggling with doing something with weight right now. And I think this kind of goes hand in hand with some of the other topics that we've spoke about, but it's mainly to do with, I can point out, or I can speak to about 10 girls who say the same thing as me. Say the exact same thing as me. I don't feel comfortable going to the gym. So I think it's so important for us to not put so much pressure on ourselves, because if we don't feel doing something, we put ourselves in an uncomfortable position to change our to make us feel like we look good.
And let's not, so I think the one thing that we that's really important to realize is that, like, there are certain things that you can do that just contribute to a healthy lifestyle, that aren't necessarily like, I'm in the gym all the time, I'm eating this, that, and the third, or whatever. Like, obviously everyone says in moderation, but genuinely, like, getting up and if you've got, for example, you live it, like, I know the difference between living in a flat and living in a house. I'm like, wow, everything's on one level, this is great. But I know that when I go to my dad's house and I'm walking up the stairs, I'm like, oh child, this is and you know it's the difference, because there's little things like that. But even being active in that sense, in that sense, you have to kind of give yourself credit. And don't get me wrong, we're not out here promoting some kind of unhealthy lifestyle where it's like I'm literally going upstairs and therefore I think I've done a form of exercise. But there are some things where it's like getting up and doing that, like gardening. My mum keeps talking to me about, but she's an older woman, and for her that is part of her activeness. The other thing is doing things. So I DJ outside of my normal job, and I tell you what, I know it sounds ridiculous, but like that, my mind being active, me being on my feet, me carrying equipment from place to place. I'm not saying that it necessarily equals a workout, as in it's the same as me going to the gym, but I will tell you that it definitely makes me feel active. It's something that I love doing, and it's something that is a little bit different. It's not a form of exercise in that sense. But once I've carried that equipment and those speakers and whatever through to somebody's house, carried them out, been on my feet for a few hours, and been physically thinking, because the other thing is, you have to remember, I remember my brother saying this to me once, like, as much as me and my brother have had our qualms, I remember my brother saying to me once, like, don't forget how much you burn by just thinking. And again, I'm not saying that that is a substitute for some physical exercise, because form wise, and especially as you get older and whatever, you got to try and keep yourself on some kind of activeness, walking to work, whatever it might look like, right? But it was something that was really, 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 Holly's just said ravens a workout, 100%.
I was actually going to touch on that afterwards, because when I was going raving all the time, even before lockdown, when I was out nearly every single weekend, sometimes even a quick Thursday and sometimes even a quick Sunday as well, bank holiday, I'm out the whole weekend. Do you know what I mean? And you're out, you're dancing. As much as you're drinking, you are drinking alcohol, so you're probably using calories, but I feel like you're burning them off as well, because the way I'd be sweating, And not while I'm
Listen, the most steps I've ever taken is in carnival.
yes.
If I'm at carnival, oh, please believe we're hitting targets upon targets upon targets.
I've never felt pain in my legs like after I've got back from carnival. Worst every single year without fail. The pain in my legs the next day, it feels like I've gone and done a hard workout.
100%. So I think that there's something to be said about not necessarily having to do something that you don't enjoy. And I think it's hard, Zen. Like, we're young women, we see young women kind of coming up behind us, and in that sense, it's not always going to be a case of like, oh, I'm just going to go raving here. And especially with the last year, we have had a different lifestyle completely. People have been forced inside. If you don't have somebody to go for a walk with, if you don't like working out inside, it's very difficult for you. And I get that completely. But I do know that there are some things that you can do that are enjoyable that also contribute to that. And I think we have to start talking about that kind of stuff as well, and that general kind of like health and well-being side of things. Slightly different to body image, but definitely contributes to how you see yourself, how strong you see yourself, how fit you see yourself. Like me personally, when I've got to an age now where if I go to the gym, okay, I might lose weight, I might be in some kind of calorie deficit because I'm eating well and whatever. But one, let me tell you and be honest, I don't go to the gym. And two, if I do go to the gym, for me now, it's about feeling strong. It's about feeling healthy. It's about feeling fit.
Yeah.
And it's not about doing things that are just forcing me into this space of going like, okay, I need to sweat, I need to sweat, I need to sweat. Actually, no, what's my, like, if I'm doing weights, for example, am I doing that and then the day after I'm feeling a bit of an ache? So I might not be sweating as much and I might not be doing as much cardio, but I'm doing something that I enjoy and that I know is going to be productive. Exactly. So yeah, I think it's just a different conversation.
Yeah, 100%. What Carly's just put in there, which is so on point, is it can be really counterproductive to do exercise that you don't enjoy. It feels like a punishment. Now, I've been in this position. I'm sitting there thinking, right, I need to lose this weight, but I hate working out. I hate it. I do not enjoy it. I don't feel like I'm good at it. I feel where a lot of other people might feel uplifted and rejuvenated and whatever after they've done a workout, I don't. I feel physically drained and I can't continue on with my day because I feel like my body is so tired. It then makes my mind really tired. Now, some people, I look at people who wake up and go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning and then go and do a full day at work, and I'm looking at you, what? I walk to the shop and back and I'm like, oh, I better get back into bed and lie down for a minute. But what I've tried to do is make two changes in my life so far, and I'm hoping that these will make a gradual difference, and it doesn't basically make me feel like I'm putting myself under too much pressure. So what I'm trying to do is I eat a home cooked meal every single day. I cook every single day, so we hardly ever get takeaway. It might be like the odd once in a while as a treat or like weekend or like that, which I also feel like we shouldn't cut everything out, because that's when you then overindulge too much because you've stopped yourself from having it. When you say, oh, I'm gonna have a cheat day, it's like, right, okay, I'm gonna have 3 Oreo ice creams, I'm gonna have 2 big bags of crisps, I'm gonna have 7 chocolate bars. You know what I mean? I go mad if I know that I've stopped myself from eating it for 3 weeks and I see a chocolate, I'm buying it, but I'm also buying the whole shop. It's gonna happen because you're starving yourself of that. If you have it in moderation, so that's what we do now, we have it in moderation. So it might be that yesterday I had 2 packets of crisps and an Oreo ice cream, but today all I've had is my dinner, but I've not had anything else to eat today, but I've been drinking plenty of water throughout the day. So it's like you have to find that balance where you're not putting so much pressure on yourself to have a routine all the time.
Yeah.
Well, babes, don't even worry.
Carly, don't worry about it.
If you're struggling, like how I struggle with like exercise and working out and whatever, if you find that you're struggling with that as well, you have to do it in a gradual way. It can't be just gonna cut everything off and go ham in the gym. Like I'm hoping me just doing so. The second thing that I've changed at the minute, obviously, whoever knows me knows I'm not driving at the minute, which was also a massive contributing factor to my laziness, because I was like, I'll just car and go and drive to the shop to go and buy my crisps. Like, I wasn't where I wasn't doing any form of exercise whatsoever. But now I'm waking up every day. I'm walking my son to school every day. We're actually walking. I'm probably walking. I don't know, I'm probably doing about half an hour worth of walking, 20 minutes worth of walking every day now without and so that's already a step in the right direction, because it's something that's part of my daily routine. It's just like, right, I have to get up and do that, I have to get up and take my son to school, so I know that it's going to involve walking. So rather than me thinking, oh my god, right, I've got to go for an hour walk today because I want to do it this way, it's just part of my day now. So that's been if anyone needs like a bit of a tip, that's what I've done, is just try and change 2 aspects of my life to make sure that my health is a bit better. Because I've felt it, sis. When I'm walking up some stairs sometimes, whoa, I've said I have to pack the smoking in as well, because the way my chest sometimes would be so painful. Walking up flight stairs, I haven't even walked down them yet.
I know, and that's the thing. So I think there's a couple of things that I just wanted to say kind of off of that. So the one thing I was going to say, because even last week being ill, so I live in a flat on my own. So I could have very easily kind of sat in that space and just been like, oh, I feel ill or whatever. But one of the things my cousin said to me is just make sure that you're getting up, even if it's just to make the bed and have a shower and then kind of go and lie on the sofa or whatever. Just try and make sure that you're getting up. She was talking about it in the context of long COVID and saying that you just don't want to get to a place where you're kind of really finding it difficult to breathe, really finding it difficult to kind of eat, whatever, do your kind of normal things. But I think even that kind of thing, that mentality made me think, okay, cool. At the bare minimum, I will be getting up to make sure that I've had a shower and to make sure that I've had a bit of fruit and my vitamins, so that internally there's something going on there. But one thing I wanted to ask you, which I know you're asking the questions, but given that you're at a point maybe where mentally you're not 100% there with your body image and what you, maybe how you see yourself, being really, really honest, how do you think you've kind of got to that acceptance point for this moment in time? Even though you're trying to do something for the future, how do you think you've kind of programmed your mind to be like, I'm accepting of myself at this stage, but I know that I want to move forward or move in a different way?
You know what the biggest thing that I've changed, right? And I know I don't want the Instagram police to jump on me, because I know we're on social media right now, and I'm not, like I've said in so many of these other lives, social media can be such an amazing platform, but it can also be so dangerous. Now, I found, especially during lockdown, when I had nothing else to do, I was scrolling through Instagram. I was seeing all of these girls that were in their designer clothes, in their skimpy little clothes, standing outside their houses, still finding a way to take pictures and still finding a way to create content for their Instagram. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, well, I've got my homemade cocktail that's probably got about 500 grams worth of sugar in it. That's about 5,000 calories in one drink. And I'm sitting there drinking it and I'm thinking, why haven't I got the motivation to get up and do that? Why can't I do you know what I mean? Why can't I be like them? And that's what one of the components is, comparing yourself to other people, because I think a lot of people do that nowadays, is we compare ourselves to what other people look like online. And so what I've done is I deleted my personal Instagram and I literally just have my Instagram for my business page. That's all I have. And what happens is, on my explore page, it literally just comes up with loads of things beauty and nails related, because that's what I'm searching for. I'm not bringing myself to search for these Instagram couples and these Instagram worthy pictures and all that. I'm not doing that. And I think, especially with young girls nowadays, that's the issue. That is at the moment, is they are so fixated with social media and so fixated with what other people think of them inside and outside of school, and it's basically creating a generation of anxious, I don't know what's the word, anxious and just not confident. They're not confident. They're confident about who they are. They don't know who they are. They've got no identity. And I feel really bad for them, because with us, we were lucky enough to be kind of like the last generation to the Dream Map Foundation crew with slick back fringe
Yeah.
and tops in our hair, and we were part of the generation where it was like we cared what people thought, but it was like, oh, what, you got them fresh kickers, yeah, with the pink stitching, yeah, do you know what I mean? It was that kind of stuff. It wasn't like, oh my god, how small is your waist? Do you know what I mean? Or how
Yeah.
big is your bum? Or how long are your nails? It wasn't like that at all. We still got to be kids.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's something to be said for us getting to be children or young people as we were. The one thing I would say though, and I don't know, I'll explain a little bit about kind of what that was like for me. I think the social media side of things, absolutely, we didn't have as much influence. So I wasn't waking up and going on my phone every day. If I was on my 32 or 3310, which didn't have no Instagram. So I might have been playing a game. I might have been on the
I
MSN
was playing,
Messenger, whatever.
playing Snake, bruv, on my Nokia.
It was. So I think we definitely did grow up in a different time, and I was born in the early 90s, so we 100% were on that kind of cusp of social versus just living in your own world.
Yeah.
But I definitely still had those times, and I think there is I think there's something to be said for our young people, whoever is watching or forwarding this on to any young people that they know of. There is definitely something to be said for just your time of learning your place in this world. So I'll be really kind of open and honest. When I was younger, I used to have a bit more of a complex about who I was and what I physically looked like and whether I fitted into this world. So I'm not massively tall, but I remember I'm like 5'8.5" or 5'9" or whatever. So when I was younger, like, body image was more than just weight. It was, okay, I'm a bit taller than the boys in my class. And so now, you start to like boys, and then it's like, am I unattractive because I'm a little bit taller? Can I wear heels when you start going out? Or do I need to wear flat shoes because actually it's too much and I don't want to be towering over people? Because you get the mixed message of like, yeah, embrace yourself, but then you also like, don't wear 6-inch heels because it's a bit much. Like, you're going to be over 6 foot and you're going to intimidate boys and whatever. So I think there was a little bit of that. For me personally, there was a lot to do with being a young black female in a space as well. So I went to school with people who were from different mixed heritages. Some people black, Asian, white, whatever. But the way my hair was, if it was in a period of time where it wasn't relaxed, what does that look like? If we're going out and it's warm and it's humid, I'm looking like a poodle by the end of the night, and everyone else looked how they looked when they turned up.
Yeah.
What does makeup look like? Now, am I going to a certain makeup counter, or am I having to try this? When I was younger, I have always been bigger chested. When I was in year 8 or 9, I was a 28 double G. So I had a really small back. Yeah, a really small back and really big boobs. Now, again, when you get older, that's something that might be seen as like desirable. In this day and age, you're looking at that as part of your shape. When I was younger and you're in your first parts of having to like dress for PE, and you're the first one with like a training bra on or whatever, and you're not separated, you're changing in the classroom with other people, be it boys or girls. There was so much to be said for that. What do I look like as a young black woman who's got curves and who's got maybe a bit more shape than the average English person that you're looking at, that's kind of represented in everything that we see? So 100% social media has a part to play in terms of how accessible it is that people are putting out images that aren't necessarily real, aren't necessarily untouched, and might look like the majority, but you might be in the minority. But I will say to like our young people, whether you're on your phone or you're not, please don't think that it's not normal to go through that kind of stuff, because everything is a and the thing that Zen has listed, those 10 things, all of those bits probably fit into one of those 10.
All of us have experience, no matter what age you are, all of us have experienced at least one of those components. Even in times that I've sat there and looked at the mirror and thought, do you know what, I'm going to get a nose job, I'm going to get Botox, I'm going to get all of these things. I just have had images in my head before. I'm like, oh my god, you're just going to look so amazing with all of this stuff. But what we need to realize is that we look the way that we look because this is how we're supposed to look. This is how we were made to look. And I think it's so important for young people to, I mean, if you go on to become an adult and you're still really insecure about a nose job, or you're really insecure about having no boobs, or you've got really big boobs and you want to go and have a breast reduction, we're not saying that you can't go and change your body. It's your bloody body. But the difference is that we need to not put so much pressure on ourselves to look a certain way. We need to be comfortable in our own skin. We need to feel like when we look in the mirror, okay, cool, I'm cool with how I look, I'm fine. Whether it's after you've had a nose job or a boob job or whatever it is, it might just be you losing a bit of weight. You might even just need to lose a stone, whatever it is, just to make you feel a little bit comfortable. Like, I know for me, the one thing that I need to change is I want to get rid of my belly and my hip dips. That's it. It's just, and I know that both of those things can be changed through exercise. So I know what I'm working towards, and I know it makes me feel better, but I'm not good. For me, I'm not going to go as extreme as actually going ahead with a nose job or going and getting filler everywhere. And I probably will get Botox eventually, because these lines are all bad. But no, I'm not about right now. Just as I get older, you know, just want to keep the youth. Yeah, no, I think it's just important for people to realize that you have to be happy with yourself. You need to not care what other people are, you know, what their opinion is of you.
Yeah, and let's also never forget that there are siblings. So not all of your the things that you see about yourself, they don't always come from people who don't love you. I remember for the longest time when I was younger, my brother used to tell me that, like, I was adopted, the usual older siblings. I was adopted, I got found in Sainsbury's, and then my mum and dad thought, like, she needs help. So they took her. But you know, one of the things, and I don't know if my sister-in-law is on here, but one of the things that my brother always used to tell me is, you've got coconut heads. And I don't want everyone to look at once. But right, my brother used to say that to me, and when I was younger, that was the only. I used to be like, "Is there plastic surgery for your forehead? Because if there is, I will get it. Can I bring my hairline forward? Can I do this?" And honestly, then there were small things like that. When I used to get braids, or I used to have my hair out, I used to wear a headband, and it was like a headband made out of tights, right? Because that's the time that we were in, and I remember going to my mum's friend, and she used to do my braids, and she said, "Why do you keep wearing this headband?" And I said, "Oh, because, you know, I've got a big forehead, so it like covers a little bit, and I can wear it with my braids and this, that, and other." And I remember her saying to me, "If you don't stop wearing this headband, you think your forehead's big now, your hairline will be back here, because it will be rubbing off and damaging your hairline." And I stopped wearing it after that. But that part of that sibling rivalry wasn't coming from a bad place from my brother, in terms of he's just calling his little sister a coconut head, and it's what it is. Yeah, 100%. But it's I don't know, I just think also in that conversation, it's important to know that it's not always coming from people who don't love you. You can grow confidences from people saying little things that might be your auntie, your brother, your best friend, whatever it might be, but those kind of things can niggle at you as well. And I think that takes a lot. I think our maybe age or stage in life, we have got a little bit more self-assurance to be able to say, okay, cool, that's like an unrealistic image of myself, sorry, and I'm gonna work to get over that. But I think when you're younger, those kind of things, they do take effect.
It's so difficult. And do you know what the maddest thing is I was actually going to speak about my own issue, and I used to wear a headband all the time made out of tights, and you know, because I was so conscious of my ears, I thought I had the biggest ears ever. I would have never thought in secondary school that I would have my ears out like this. Never, ever. And as I've got older, I've grown into them. I've grown into my ears. And so many people said that to me. Like, my mum would say to me all the time, she's like, "You're just going to grow into them. It's fine." Same with Kai, my little boy. He, obviously, but for anyone who's in here, but my little boy, he's ears. But I've never made him feel like he doesn't even act like he's got big ears. Whereas with me, by then, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, I used to beg my mum and say, "Mum, please can we go to the doctors and so I can get them pinned back." I wanted to get my ears pinned back so badly. And it's like, I think it's it's also the environment that they're in. School is a horrible place.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. It's a horrible and difficult place. And how many people I hear who have been bullied or were targeted for something, the way that they looked or something that was wrong with them or whatever, someone was always targeted for something. Always. Okay?
Yeah.
And I think it's just, it's difficult to kind of find a way to tackle it. But this is why we do our job. This is why we go about this kind of stuff, because there's kids that have killed themselves over this stuff.
100%.
Over being bullied about the way they look in school, they have then got themselves. So it's so important for us to be educating young people and making sure that they just remember that they're still growing. You're not even an adult. You don't even know what you're going to look like as an adult. When I look back at my secondary school pictures, I'm like, wow, yeah. My good God. When I saw myself the other day, I was scrolling through my pictures on my phone and I had taken a picture of one of my old school pictures. Listen, so I'd had my cane rose done. My mum had done I had a headband on, well, because obviously I wasn't having my ears out. Then I was literally like this, from where my teeth was coming braces. I don't even know what I was doing. I just really looked a mess. I looked too bad, really, really bad. And I look back and I think, wow, at that time I thought I was so hideous. I thought I was so ugly. I thought no one was ever going to fancy me. It was awful. And then I'm not even blowing my trumpet, but then I went on to Blossom. And this happened. Everyone had those awkward teenage years. But I feel like our teenagers this time around are not getting that.
No. Yeah, they don't really get in the ugly stage. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them are outdoing me and I'm a big 28.
Earlier that there's kids that can contour better than her now. There's kids that
100%
at 12, 13 and they could be professional MUAs.
Yeah, 100%. And you do go through that stage, and you look back and you're like, wow, I was not looking good. But I think you have to remember, you are never going to know this. Let me just say this. Kate's like they're here with the full contour. Let me just say this as well. We're talking about this right now. If you are in that stage of your life, you may not even recognize that per se. You might think, oh yeah, like what they're saying, I can kind of recognize as in I don't like this, that, or the other. But hindsight is a beautiful thing. So we're looking at it now and we're like, oh yeah, there's a picture of us when we were teenagers, and we can look back and say, well, I wasn't looking great. But at the time, you're trying your best. You really are. And like
the makeup that we had at that time,
awful
for black girls,
really
no makeup. There was no makeup for black girls. They had no dark shades at all. And all black girls were coming out with grey makeup.
Yeah. When I first started wearing foundation, I was it was like a special trip. I got my first bit of foundation when I was 16, I think, when I was going to my first prom. Looking back, that foundation probably wasn't that great for me. Was it Bobbi Brown? I can't remember. I think it was Bobbi Brown, but it required, I'm not joking, it required going to one of the department stores in London that had a bit more of an extensive counter, and then going to get a bit of a match, and not knowing whether liquid foundation was for me, powder was for me, some kind of like mousse was for me. I didn't know what that looked like. So I think you have to, like, I have this saying, which is that you have to go through it to grow through it. And that sounds so like cliche and like, oh yeah, but genuinely, that's the only thing that I can say. Can
I highlight what Katie and Holly have said? Katie was like, no drawn on eyebrows and blue eyeshadow. And my eyeshadow would be right up to my eyebrows, right up.
Hello. Also, let's just talk about the fact that when we were younger, the thinnest eyebrows was fashion.
The thinnest eyebrows, non-existent. Do you know how many of my clients come in and they say, oh yeah, I've got really sparse eyebrows because I overplucked? Everyone overplucked. That's why
Yeah.
I was having to get that tattooed on now, because they was all over plucking. And do you know what? Do you know what else? Oh, what was it? What was it that I used to use? Oh, do you remember the Bourjois mascara? And it was in like
Yeah.
a thick round bottle, and it used to make your eyelashes so clumpy and thick. I remember I did
Clump together.
something and my mum went, she went, oh my God. Because I thought the mascara was so thick. Right.
Honestly, even that, like, I wasn't, when I was younger, I never used to have like I still don't. I don't have no eyelashes. Zenov has done my eyelashes before and just said to me, do you know what, bruv, I'm done. We're not doing the bottom lashes because you don't have any. And I'm like, what's this, please?
You know, when you do eyelash extensions, guys, and you have to put the under eye pads on, my girl didn't even need them because she doesn't have any bottom eyelashes.
I don't have anything. But I've got to the point now where I recognize that that's just me. And we can laugh about it, and it's not something that I necessarily am conscious of, because I just am how I am. But you definitely have to go through that like really difficult stage, and anyone who, whatever background you come from, whatever kind of beauty standards you've been brought up with, whether that be in this country or anywhere else, or from previous generations into next generations, I think it's just very important to know that everyone has their place. When we talk about body image, we're not just talking about weight, we're not just talking about exercise, we're not just talking about how your hair is, we're talking about all those small things in between. We're talking about the trends, we're talking about what was popular when you were growing up, and then how you transition out of that into like, what's the older phase? What do I look like now that I'm 20, I'm 18, I'm 25, I'm 40, whatever. It's not easy. It is not easy at all.
I want to say as well that there's two things I want to say. First of all, body image is not always necessarily about the external side, the internal
Yeah.
of ourselves, and also how we judge other people as well. People need to just stop and think, right, okay, maybe that person's really insecure about their weight. Why do I need to take the mick out of them? Why do I need to comment on their weight? I don't understand why people can't just mind their own business. Obviously, if someone is down the street, I've seen people walk down the street in the maddest outfits before, and I'll be like, oh my God, babe, look at his outfit, or look at his shoes. And we do it as a joke, but we'd never go up to that person and be like, oh my God, you look mad, your outfit looks mad. Do you know what I mean? You would never do that. But I think it's important to just, like, one of my clients told me the other day that she got into an argument with a guy in the pub because she went out with one of her friends, and her friend went over and said hello to this group of boys, and she come back and she was in floods of tears. And one of the boys had basically said to her, oh, bloody hell, you've put on a bit of weight. And it's just like, we've come out of lockdown. Everyone's been going through an extremely difficult time in the last year. People have lost people. People have gained weight. People have struggled with their mental health. Like, what has happened in the last year is far from normal, and it's far from the way we should be living. And so if someone has put on 2, 4, 6 stone, whatever it is, it's not really for anyone else to comment on. So I think it's really important that we remember to just be kind. That it's just basic common courtesy. Just be kind. You don't need to comment on someone's weight. You don't need to comment on the way that someone looks. Just mind your own business. The second thing I wanted to say, which I think has now slipped my mind. What did you just say before?
I was just talking about how hard it is and what beauty standards you come from.
What we also need to remember is that we're constantly going to be in and out of these different phases. Like you said, how am I going to look when I'm 25? How am I going to look when I'm 40? How many women and men do you know get to 40 or 50 and are still, and then upset with the way that they look because they might be getting, they might, I don't know, their skin's not as elasticated as it used to be, or maybe they've got bags under their eyes now, maybe they've got a receding hairline, maybe they're going grey. Whatever it is, we're constantly going to be up and down with the way that we perceive ourselves. But what we need to understand is that we're human beings. This is all part of our lives. This is what's going to happen. But it's just important for us to encourage people to just look at themselves and perceive themselves in more of a positive light. That's really important thing.
Yeah, I agree. And it's there's a lot of work, like when you're talking about work to be done on yourself, that's not easy. Let's never ever I know we've spoken about lots of things being hard, but that part in itself is one of the things about adulting that people don't tell you. Like, oh, well, I got to look after myself and and figure out that I look all right as well. Like, what?
So much to do all the time. There's so much.
Yeah, like,
so
I have to look in the mirror and actually appreciate myself, even when I'm on my own and I'm looking raggedy. Like, the way that Zen and I look right now is not how we wake up. Let's be real. We've seen each other when we wake up, and it ain't cute. It ain't cute.
Says it to me all the time, and Dave says it to Iram all the time. So my boyfriend and my little sister's boyfriend, they say it to us all the time. They're like, we are literally at we're at either end of the spectrum. We either look diabolically bad or phenomenal. There is no between. There's no in between. There is no way of like, oh, okay, yeah, you look a bit tired, but you still look. There's none of that. With all, there's none of that.
100%.
Hey, that's okay. It's normal.
Yeah.
No one.
But I think
morning looking amazing.
How you get into looking into yourself. I'm just checking time as well to make sure we're cool. Yeah, how you get into looking for yourself is it's a process. It is 100% a process. And I met last year, when we were kind of in that phase of everyone could only really go for walks with each other because we were locked down, right?
Holly,
yeah, they are. Holly knows, isn't it? The Jai family are beastly when they want to be. But anyway, we won't go into that. But yeah, so we was going on walks, and I remember I went to like have a little picnic with two of my friends, Cam and Alysia, and I walked up, and I was like in this little like grey dress, and it was summer and whatever. And I felt fine. I was in a good fitness place last year, much better than I have been in the last kind of 6 months. But I just kind of said to myself, look, it's lockdown. I just need to try and keep myself a bit active. Otherwise, it's all going to go south. Fine. And I remember Cam saying to me, like, how did you get to this place where you just seem like quite confident with yourself, or you're quite like open with, sorry, just seen Holly's comment, where you're happy with your image? And I said, I don't know. I really don't. And I think I say that to say you don't get to this point where you just go like, I'm just great all round, and I'm perfect, and you know the way that I have been made in whatever's image, or if you have certain beliefs or certain faiths or whatever, it's just fine. It doesn't work like that. And it definitely doesn't work like that every day. Even if you get to that point, you have a point in between, beforehand, afterwards, where you go, what am I? How do I fit into this world? And I will be really honest, right now, not right now, but I'd say in general in the last few years, I've come to a point of accepting myself a little bit better. But I look back and I think I see photos of myself, and I don't think about what I necessarily looked like. Like, yes, I might not have looked that great, but I'm actually more so thinking like, wow, I didn't think anything of myself at that time. I didn't see what anyone else might have seen at that time. I couldn't understand why anyone would have fancied me, or why another girl would have called me pretty, or why someone would have said, oh yeah, you have actually got a nice shape. Like, why are you upset about that? Or your hair is lovely, or the way you do this is da 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 da. I didn't understand that. So I think it's one of the realities of adulthood, or whatever, young adulthood, as you're just kind of going through time. And like Zen was saying, you will always be going through those stages and those zones. But no one's going to promise that journey is going to be like really simple. And as much as I'm in that now as a 27, 28-year-old, I find it really sad when I look back at pictures of myself, because it's not about how I looked. It's me remembering, like, you thought you were nothing. Yeah, you thought you were ground zero. That was it. And how you ever got out of that point, that's why my answer is I don't know, because there isn't this magic thing that you do and all of a sudden like you love yourself. No, I think it comes with time. I think it comes with age. I think it comes with priorities in life. You go, actually, other things are way more important, and I can get myself this, that, and the other, and feel nice. But it's not. We are not here, and especially as peer to peer, we're not here to say to you like, oh, you just do this and then you're going to do that. No, it's not. It's not easy.
That's why I didn't really want to give pointers on how you can kind of make yourself feel better about yourself, because even now, as much as I because I've been through so many different stages, like you said, I've been through so many different stages of how I looked when I, even down to little things like cutting my hair and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I look back at certain stages, like when I cut my hair really short, I look back and I think, what on earth was he thinking? I was severely depressed at that time. I put on weight. I then went through a breakup. It's just, it gives me negative reminders of what I was going through at that time. So it's, like you said, it's difficult to look back. Like, even when I look back to pictures that I took back in 2019 when we were still allowed out, and at that time I thought, oh my god, at that time I was thinking to myself, oh my god, I'm really putting on weight, I need to calm down, I feel like I'm really unhappy with my body. And I look back at the pictures now and I'm like, what on earth are you talking about? You was a size 8 to 10 then. You were a size 10, like biggest, you were a size 10 then. And like, I look at myself in certain, like I've still got some of the dresses, I can't even get them on now. And I'm just like, what was I thinking at that time? Why didn't I just understand that I was healthy and comfortable with my weight at that time? Because now I've moved over to a different stage where I'm like, okay, wow. Now I've actually been kind of told that you're putting on weight and you need to do something about it. So I do feel a little bit more pressure. But at the same time, it's just like, I feel like my brain is going into overdrive because I'm trying to explain my thoughts, because these are the thoughts that go through my head on a daily basis, and I'm trying to explain my thoughts, and it's so difficult to do because I'm in this vicious cycle right now where I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with my body, so I don't really want to put a nice outfit on, which means I don't really want to go out, which means I'd rather stay at home in my comfortable pajamas in front of the TV, where I don't have to put makeup on, I don't have to leave my house, I don't have to pretend that I'm this confident person when I walk out this house, when I know deep down I hate what I'm wearing, I hate what I look like in this outfit, I hate my makeup, I hate my hair. Like, I just don't feel that same vibe. But I think that also goes hand in the fact that we've been cooped up in the house for a year. Most other people, oh my god, yes, we're free, let's go out. And I'm like, oh, okay, we've not been able to have any normality for over a year now. I'm like dipping my toe out a little bit. That's I've done that a few times, and I'm just like, is it really worth it? I'm spending money that I don't spend. I'm not really enjoying myself that much. I'm not really happy with the way that I look. So why am I going out? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And we, like, how do we even get in dress nowadays? I'm like, oh, I don't know what to wear. Like, what do you wear to these things? I don't know. We went out for dinner.
Go on.
No, I was just saying, like, we went out for dinner the other day, and it was like, I made an outfit, but I was like, I don't know what to wear. Like, what are we doing here?
You know what's sending me? It's sending me so mad, and it's making me not want to wear anything. I'm fully fat pants wearer now.
Oh, mate. You can't beat them. You can't beat them.
The way that it sucks me in, it's mad. It's absolutely mental. I can't believe it. It's phenomenal. But never in my life would I have thought that I've now got to wear sucking shorts. Never.
It's the reality.
I'm here. But do you know what else as well? What I'm having to understand is that I'm actually getting older as well. I don't have the same metabolism that I did when I was 18, where I could just eat 3 McDonald's in a day and not eat a stone. My metabolism has slowed down massively. But now I have to be a little bit more cautious. That's all it means.
Yeah. And I think on that as well, Zen, because I know obviously time-wise we've kind of been talking for a little while, but
this is actually off soon, I think.
Okay, well, I was just going to say quickly, there is a lot to be said for men in that conversation as well. So I know you're listening to us and we're talking about ourselves as young women. That metabolism thing, you know, like when you talk about dad bod and dad belly and this, that and the other, it happens. And I think there's just one, if there's anything that I think we can say before if it does cut off, it's 100% for men and for women. So that image thing is not just, it is slightly different, I think, because of the way that society portrays maybe what women are supposed to look like, or that kind of like pressure that they maybe put on people. But it happens for men as well. And I have friends who have been like, I'm doing insanity lists. I have to. I've got to start working out. I've got to start doing this, that, and the other, because it's very easy for me to sit here and to just like chill, eat, smoke, drive around with the boys, whatever. And actually, I'm realizing that now we're 28, we're 29, going to be 30 next year, whatever. That actually my body is changing. And so I say that to say it is a very human response. And age is not an easy thing to deal with. That we could talk about that age is, but it is not a very easy thing to deal with. It's hard. And as much as we know that life happens and you wish to get to a certain age, you then have times when you have a bit of identity crisis. I'll be really honest. I've been through that in the last year, where I've been like, oh my God, it's amazing. I've got godchildren and I've got kids that call me auntie. But then I equally look at my aunties and I think, oh, I remember when you used to come around when I was younger, and I don't know what that looks like. And then I'm older to my I mean, if I look at like Luca, my youngest godson, he looks at me as a big, I mean, can't talk properly yet, but he looks at us as big people. We're his auntie. So it's going to keep going, is what I'm saying. But I think you as a person, whoever it is that is listening, has to keep going through it. And that is not an easy ask.
No.
But trust me, you do get to a stage where it's not even that you're 100% or you feel like, oh, I'm perfect now. I just think you get to a stage where you can go, okay, I can start to accept these little bits, or I can start to work with the people around me and know that they're not against me, and that everything they say isn't personal, and that I've filtered out the people who are right for me and who have that right energy for me. And therefore, I know that when I ask them a question, they're going to tell me the truth, but they're equally going to support me. I think it's that mentality. Is very easy for us to say, oh, well, that will change, and as you get older, this, that, and the other. It's about who you've got around you, and it's about what you feed yourself, and then how you then move forward with that. And that is for men and women. So boys, if there are boys here who are looking at themselves now, I'm too skinny, I'm too big, I can't promise that it's going to be okay overnight, but I will say that as young women, we 100% recognize that you men are going through that as well, and you need to pull us up as women to be like, babes, or friend, or whoever you're talking about. That's a feeling for me as well. And Zen knows that. She's got a young son, so you will have that in the reverse, in terms of somebody going through that development stage but actually isn't the same sex as you and has different pressures in this world as well.
100%, I agree. I think this is going to lock off soon, but it's been amazing having you on. And everyone, that we are still offering our mentoring sessions throughout the summer holiday. So if you have a young person who you might potentially want to refer to us, by all means, it's free of charge. You don't have to pay for the session. And it could be for anything, from struggling at school to struggling with body image, struggling with self-confidence. I don't know, maybe their behaviour's not great at home, maybe they're quite aggressive. I don't know what it is. There's so many different problems that young people have, and that we're more than happy to try and help work with each other, relieve them of stresses. And yeah, if anyone wants any information on anything that we've spoke about today, please by all means send us over a message, and just we're happy to have a chat with anyone. Yes. Well, Alysia, thank you so much for coming on. It's been lovely seeing you, and I'll actually see you.
All right,
guys, we'll have take care.
Bye.